Oh, welcome.
Is it live?
It is live. Welcome to a very exciting episode of what is happening with my life right now.
Literally.
We are obviously in a different setting in our podcast. Shout out to 201 Loft House, our producer back here, Arturo, who's awesome. But we decided to change up the setup because we're going to do back-to-back episodes. We're actually doing them live in the studio, which is the first time we do that this year.
So bear with us.
Yes, and the reason why we're doing this, you'll find out at the end of each episode. Obviously, you guys know that we have been out of town. Yvette has been out of town for 3 weeks. She went to Tanzania.
Yeah.
I said it right,
Yes.
Tanzania, and then you went to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and then you ended at a safari.
We went to safari and then Zanzibar.
So we're gonna just look. We know we've already been getting text messages. So we go, why don't we just go live and tell people to watch it? And if you're not watching live, we're going to send you the replay, and then we can have conversations with you guys because It's a lot. You have 3 weeks. I have 1 week. So
it's still a lot for both of us.
Yes. So welcome to our show. Today's episode is a personal one, and I have a lot of notes. If you
that I have not seen, by the way.
She has not seen it. If you are a reader, Yvette wrote a beautiful mini story, and that's why. And I took a lot out of the story because you had some amazing. I was crying. And I went back and read it 3 times. So I'm sitting down literally to interview my co-founder. She's going to talk about her climb, literally up a mountain, and what taught her about the difference between life happening to her and life happening through her. Yeah. She didn't know it at the time, but she was climbing with a serious medical condition. She found out after she came down, and somehow not knowing was part of what got her to the top. So today we're going to take some moments and just really talk about this journey, the 4 levels of consciousness, which I know are super important for you and me and YGC and personal and in business, and the season that you just kind of went through, the before that people have kind of been seeing. You're going to talk about the during, and then people are going to see in the after.
Okay.
So you ready?
I am, but yes.
Okay. Well,
I'm also very emotional. I don't know why. I am. But I'm happy about it because I think this is kind of part of the new through me.
Well, why don't we do this before I just start drilling you on questions? Why don't you just share a little bit? Just share with the audience.
Okay. So it started because my life partner, Charles, his bucket list was to go to Mount Kilimanjaro and to climb it. And when you say yes to something and you're not really quite sure what you're saying yes to, I said yes. I did all the things. I actually did study. I was training for a long time. Actually, the training started in last November, and then I was in that stupid car accident, and then I couldn't really pick back up until maybe the beginning of March as far as really getting back at it. Did all my rehab, all the things. But no matter how much was on the internet as far as what to expect, what to bring, what is going to happen to you, the 8 days that you're trekking, altitude sickness, all the things, you don't really understand what you're getting into until you get there. And then all you know is the only way to get to the other side is literally to go through this. It's either you go through this or you're not doing the experience at all. But yes, we were on the Mount Kilimanjaro 8-day trek, which they have different days. I highly suggest if anybody's going to do this to do the 8 days because everything is based on how your body responds to the altitude. And especially since we live here in Houston, it was 0.
Yeah.
We're at 0 here feet, and climbing up to 19,000 feet was a big difference for my body.
Okay. So before we talk about this, because I want to talk about so many things, but I only picked 5 questions based on your story and what I learned about your story. But talk about what you and Charles talked about before, because the first question leads into something that you guys had decided before. So what was your I guess commitment to what would happen to if one of you couldn't finish? So let's it is very physical, and they tell you that it's really physical. And so we joked back and forth, but we did say in front of the 2 other people that came with us on the trip, hey, there's 4 of us. What happens if one of us decides, or what if something happens to the other person and they can't continue to go up the mountain? Or what if something physical happens or whatever? But Charles and I really talked about it. And I said, I'm not thinking anything's going to happen. However,
there is that possibility. They tell you, so what are we going to do? We'd already made the decision that outside of an absolute emergency, like you have to be taken to the hospital, that if something happened to one of us, like, you broke a knee or I don't know, whatever, that the other person can continue the journey.
Okay.
I did not know that that was actually going to have to go into play.
Great.
And it's always easy to make decisions. And then when something really happens and you go, oh my gosh, we actually talked about this and now it's before me and I really have to make this choice.
Okay. So that's where I'm going to start.
Okay.
You had to make the decision.
Yes.
To stay alone.
Yes.
Charles got sick.
Yes.
And it was on day 3.
3.
Okay.
Yeah. It got altitude sickness.
Yes. So you had to choose and you decided to continue solo. So
yeah,
that's the moment life first kind of felt like it was happening to you.
Yeah, 100% at me, 100 like a wildfire.
Before it flipped into choosing to keep going, or before it flipped into you choosing to keep going.
Yes.
So let's talk about a little like that moment.
Okay. Well, very humbling in so many ways, but also like you're kind of like frozen in time, saying to yourself, A or B, and already thousands of feet up on the mountain, the wind's blowing in your face, he's sick, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Half of me was like, I love this man, I want to take care of him, and I want to make sure he's okay. But then the other half of me was the Yvette that goes, I can do this, and I don't want to not have to be able to do this. So we had a little powwow, and I was like, we really need to be honest with each other as far as like, do you feel like I need to go with you? And he was like, 100%. Are you kidding me? I need you to go on top of that mountain for both of us. So there were 2 beautiful guides, and I want to mention their names, Mary and Johnny. Mary wound up walking with Charles back down to the lowest base camp so he could be taken, I don't think he went to a clinic, but basically taken back to the hotel. Johnny wound up being my personal guide for the rest of the time, and he continued with me up the mountain. I had said to Mary before I left, I said, listen, I can only do this if I know that you will communicate, because their cell phones worked, ours didn't. You've got to communicate with me that I know Charles is okay, or else I will not be able to do this. And she promised, and she said yes. So by the time that evening, I got the first video call it was a recording from Charles saying that he was okay, that he'd made it back to the hotel. So that was like relief number 1. But I will be honest, because it took a long time to get back to the base camp where everybody was. It takes all, you're basically by yourself all day long hiking. Not all by myself, I was with Johnny, but I get back to the tent.
Oh yes, this is walk us back to the first night alone in your tent.
Yes.
Because that was a big, again, if you read the story,
it was
what was
big.
actually going through your head?
Yeah, so the first time was actually daytime when I actually got back, and everybody else had already had lunch. They were taking their naps, and they were all like, everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. I had gotten to the camp they gave me beautiful something to eat, and I was just kind of like in a daze, like what is happening in my life right now? I get into the tent, and I think that's when the real reality set in. I'm like, I'm not going to cry because it wasn't a bad thing. It was just more like you find yourself in situations that you say to yourself, you chose this, you know what you want. It's not going to be easy, but what the hell are you going to do? So I sat there in the tent, and it was kind of a morbid feeling, to be honest, because Charles was, tent for 2. His stuff was still there because he decided on during the track that he had to go back down. So his stuff was there. So I look over and I'm kind of like, okay, this is weird that his stuff is here, but his essence is not here. And then I just kind of sat there going, and now I was complaining about the tent being small and how we both were like so cramped in it. And now I'm looking around going, it's really big and I'm going to be by myself. And at night, this is going to be really different. And that is when I think I was a little scared. I was scared to go, you're in Africa with the only 2 people are, thank God, in the tent next to us, Sarah and Mario, with people you really don't know that are on your team, and you're putting your life in the hands of guides that you just met 2 days ago. And mentally, the thought of like, you really are by yourself. I couldn't call anybody. And there's no reception, there's no anything. You just kind of sit around and go, okay, I'm going to do this.
No, we had to live through the Facebook group. It was like looking for you
Yeah,
guys.
like, where's Yvette? Where's Charles?
Yeah.
Where's he even going with them? And I'm very grateful that Maria and Sarah were there, because Sarah came into the tent and I started crying and she's like, are you okay? And I go, I'm not, but I don't think I could do this without you guys being here, because it is a very isolating and very lonely feeling. But at the same time, I had this fire burning inside of me of like, no, I can do this. And I'm really sorry if I swear, because I might swear on here. Like, but my real thoughts.
I'm sorry. Have we never?
That were in the real thoughts that were in my head were like, listen, and this is where things started to change, because I was like, okay, I always say, if people just let me have my emotional moment, then I get over it and I move on. So I started to have my little emotional moment. I had it with Sarah. Mario came in and talked to me too. And then by the time dinner came, I could tell I was still kind of like a little tense, and people are like, how's Charles? What's going on? Or did you get word that he's okay? But by the time I went to bed, which was interesting, because now all of a sudden I start hearing everything in the campground at a like I started noticing everything. But by the time I got up the next morning, I was like more like, all right, literally, it's not in a mean way talking to myself, but in an encouraging, like, okay, bitch, get up, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's a whole new day. Yesterday was yesterday, today is today, move on. It's no longer life is happening to me, at me. It's like, no, this could actually be happening for you, and take it as it is, and just allow whatever it is that this mountain in the universe wants to give you. You've been asking.
Yep.
The whole time up the mountain, I've been asking, I heard, mountain, that you talk to people and you tell them things, and you speak deeply into their world. I'm like, I'm listening. So I'm like, well, you asked, and maybe this is your opportunity to just keep listening.
Well, which leads us, she doesn't know the questions I'm asking
don't know
her,
the
but
questions.
this leads us perfectly into, you talked about the 4 levels of consciousness.
Yes.
And things happening to you, for you, through you, and as you. So those are the 4 levels for people that don't know that. And that is something that's very deeply rooted into you and on you.
And on me.
And on
my
you.
little tattoo proving it.
For those who don't know, it's things are happening to you, things are happening level 2 for you, level 3 through you, and then level 4 as you. So can you break down, like, for someone hearing this for the first time, kind of how that happened for you?
Okay. So the it coming at me, or like the victim mentality, was, why is this happening? Why is Charles's body not responding, and why does he have to leave, and why am I stuck here, and why by myself, and why do I have to do this, all those things. That was me internalizing everything. It's like, it's just coming at me, and oh my God, reacting instead of just going, okay. Again, when we tell our clients, I did the same thing. I literally had to pause and go, Yvette, you're recognizing that this is just happening at you, instead of the next level was, what if this is actually happening for you? Because you asked for it. So then that next stage was, okay, so if this is happening for me, then I need to be looking at this with a whole different set of eyes, ears, feelings, thoughts, emotions, everything that I'm about to experience. And that was really,
Day 4 was for you, started for you. Isn't that crazy?
Day 4 was for me. Mm-hmm. Then 5 and 6 definitely was, okay, now you're walking out that this is for you, and then let it start to come through you. I think that the through me times were when I could actually, because sometimes it was just me and Johnny. Even though there's other trekking groups that walk by you once in a while, or you see other people, you can look around and you can look for miles and there's no one around. Nothing except for a rock and some really cool vegetation that only exists on that mountain, which he was great at describing, like, this is just a tree and this grows here. And so I was very entertained in that sense, but I only had my thoughts to myself. And I am a talker, but I'll be honest, I was having a hard time breathing, which I mentioned that I had altitude sickness, but I didn't know I had altitude sickness.
That's my next question.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So as I am with Johnny, I'm saying to him, I'm not talking because I don't want to have conversations with you. If anything, what you're educating me on is very helpful to keep my mind going in the right direction, but I can't talk. Which, when day after day that you're really not talking, that's a lot of thinking. So I think that's where the through me started coming in, as far as like, I don't even know really how to describe it other than you're walking, you know that everything's around you, but I'm playing different things in my head. And you know that I meditate like no other at night. And so I was just kind of having my own meditation moments of like, okay, mountains of my future's like this, and or I want this, or how do I explain this, or if I want more of that in my life, or like I just kind of started going with every single person, every single situation, family, the whole nine yards, just going, well, I'm here, might as well just start asking or putting pieces together as far as like how I want it in my mind.
Okay, and then to get us to the fourth stage, which is
as me. I don't think I did not experience that until the last 2 points. Once you get to a place called Stella Point, that has kind of been, as I described or I read on the internet, a climber's way of knowing, hey, you're almost to the top. Like if you've made it here, the final checkpoint, because that was I mean, we're talking up. Like imagine just climbing up these.
Yeah.
But this is a little bit flatter, but I thought, oh my God, everybody said once you get here, then it's just the next 45 minutes to an hour, whatever, to the actual summit. So once I got to Stella Point, I think it was the emotional release of like, I did it. Like, I'm almost there. And you kind of have that release of like, okay. And then on our way to the summit, we passed the people that I'd been camping with, because again, I was always with my own guide because I was a little bit slower than they were because I was having to stop every 100 feet to breathe. So when I saw them, they were so encouraging. It was like seeing long lost family that you hadn't seen for years, even though I just met these people except for Maria and Sarah. But that was like the boost I needed to go, okay, they did it. They're not going back down. So there's hope. Like there is the other side to all this, and they're about to experience all of it. And Yvette, you just have this little bit more to go. So, but between then and getting up to the summit, I was really like probably every 10 to 15 feet having to, and if you go on my Instagram page, you'll see I posted yesterday an actual video of me trying to walk and then stopping, or you can, I think I took the sounds out, but you can tell that I'm struggling to breathe. But by the time I got to the actual point of the summit and seeing the top, and you get to actually touch it and you're there, I think that's where the as me came through, because it all kind of came full circle, and then you know that it's over. But I didn't feel, it wasn't a sense of relief and oh my God, it was more like an enlightenment that I've never really ever for that long of a period been able to experience in that way. And I can only describe it as if I were to have died, thinking of your ascension to heaven or what perfect peace feels like, because I was 100% aware, but at the same time, gratitude, peace, love, which had been my word for the past 2 years, my personal word for the past 2 years. I just felt so much come through me, but it wasn't anybody else but me. So that was the as me part that came through. And then I actually spent some time, because they tell you once you're up there, you just want to get back down. But I went to the edge of the crater, and I was like probably this far away from the crater. And I just bent down on my knees, and you can see the expanse of like this huge mountain in the crater and how big it is. And I just kind of it's crazy how you can feel this big and so minute, like a pebble in a beach on the sand, but at the same time feels so grand. Yeah. Like it's like a dichotomy of, I feel like nothing, but I feel like freaking amazing at the same.
I think that's the point. Like,
that is the point.
I think you can only do that in that kind of setting.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's hard to explain because you don't, unless you've done it. But I think that's the way it's supposed to be.
So it was like the point of like, I am nothing on this planet, but at the same time, I feel like I am so close to this energy and power that's freaking just amazing. And I've sensed it in other times in my life, but this was like this overwhelming, long sense of it until I got the reality of now you have to go back down now.
Which brings us down that you had no idea. First of all, when you called me and you told me what happened, I was like, oh my God, what's going on? That you had pulmonary edema and you didn't know until you were descending. So now that you look back on how serious it was, and they had to helicopter you off the
Mountain.
the mountain. Does that change how you look back on the summit?
No. I'm really glad I didn't know.
Because it would have probably stopped you from going.
Yes, and I kind of think of it in life. Sometimes we know things are happening to us or around us or whatever, but maybe we don't have all the answers. Maybe we don't know all the situations. We didn't hear all the conversations. We don't know why things are happening. I had no idea. If I would have known, think about it. Fear would have come in. Feeling like, oh my God, I can't control the situation, or I need to get off the mountain or whatever. And yes, it was a life circumstance, but I wouldn't have been able to do what I did knowing
That's what you have.
that. And I think in life, sometimes we go through things that we may not understand what it is, but once you get on the other side, how you go, oh, now I get it. It was like one of those moments of, okay. And I'm not mad at it at all.
Okay, in your story, in your mini story, you describe yourself as the strong one, the provider, the one who doesn't ask for help. What did it actually feel like when your body, the moment you asked John, that John asked you, let me take your backpack, like how did that feel to actually have to ask for help?
Very humbling.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very strong person and I don't like asking for help. And not because I feel like it's a weakness, but it's more like I just go, I have always gotten me. Like, it was very humbling because those porters and those guides work so hard already to get the camp prepared. They bring all your food, they bring all your water, they bring the porta potties.
They're like your life support.
They're like your life support. So to feel like you're asking them to do one more thing for you because you can't, that was very, very humbling.
Well, I know that you are going to do a little more about talking about Mary and John, right? So Mary and John.
Yeah.
And then I think it's important because they don't get as much recognition as they should get because people just assume, oh, like that's their job. But again, you are literally putting your life in the hands of a person you just met. The last thing is you end your piece. This is a very strong ending to your piece, saying that everyone has their own mountain: grief, divorce, building a business. For a woman who's listening, or clients or community, that it's in the middle of hers right now. What are the actual steps towards that shift from happening to me to happening through me?
Wow.
Yeah, of course, I was going to end with a good one.
That's a big question. I think actually what you just asked me, as far as like, you don't have to do it alone. That there are people that want to support you, that love you, that care about you. That whatever it is you're going through, you're not going through it alone. I'm sure that there's someone who wants to love on you. And then I guess the other side of that is, I think that we especially as women, no offense to guys, but I think there's something naturally in us that we fight internally in a different way. I think men are much more like physical or whatever. I think women take a lot and we take a lot and we take a lot and we get worn down. So if anybody finds themselves in that kind of situation, there's like, I just feel like there is this mountain and how in the heck am I going to get over it? I know that you have the internal strength to do it.
We can do like a whole nother episode. You have to go.
So serious.
I know, but it's in a good way. But we're not ending yet.
Okay.
Because we're ending on a good note.
Here we are.
Obviously, the story was beautifully written.
Thank you.
I sent it to Renee. She sent a message back that I need to send to you.
Okay.
But anyway, Renee is one of our clients who's an author, but beautifully, and then inspired me to write my blog, which was 7 pages. But let's end on a good note. Do you want to announce some exciting news?
So the other exciting thing that happened when we were in Tanzania is, can I tell the story real quick?
Yes,
I'll tell the story.
Tell the story.
So after we climbed the mountain, the next 3 days we were going to we did a safari. And it was day 1 of the safari. I don't even think we were half an hour into the safari because we were just learning how to, like, here are the binoculars, get your phones ready. This is how you sit in the stupid vehicle and how the top pops out or whatever. And it was Mario and Sarah in the front, I'm in the middle, and Charles is behind me. And all of a sudden he starts rambling about elephants and giraffes. Oh, when I saw the giraffe, the elephant, I told myself, and we're like, okay, whatever. oh, but now there's a giraffe. And I said, oh my God, if there was a giraffe and an elephant, I mean, like, this is the moment, this is the time. And we're all like, okay. We're all scrambling for all of our phones or whatever. And then what he said was, he goes, well, I've had this in my pocket the whole time since we left Houston. And I'm like, you have had what in your pocket? And I turn around and he has this box. And I look at him and I'm like, you've had this with you this entire time? And he goes, yeah. And then I ask 5 million questions. I'm like, as we're going through the airport, yes. So it's not in your suitcase? He's like, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to shut up and let you talk. So then he went into this whole thing that was beautiful and asked me to marry him. And of course I said yes. So I have this, you can't see it, but you'll see it later.
Yes, we'll post it later.
This beautiful tanzanite ring. This is from Tanzania, that represents our beautiful trip that we took together. But we're gonna go pick out, or I'm gonna go pick out an engagement ring. So this is my Africa ring, and then I'll have an engagement ring. And I it's so funny because on the way over here I was like, you're announcing that you're engaged.
I was like, we're announcing this on the podcast.
I'm
She's like,
like,
are we? I go, 100%.
Okay, but you know what I realized? I have been single with children longer than I've ever been married or with any other person. Yes, I want to be married. I love Charles. He's an amazing person. But with everything we teach, me growing to be like my independent, so happy with myself, so happy with my life, it's like this is an added layer of like amazement, but it's also like, wow, like
we have people commenting. I can't wait to see.
So
this
different.
Is why we're going live. So this is the whole reason. So if you're watching live, comment. There obviously we'll have pictures because people are going to want to see your ring. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Charles, if you're watching, and anyone watching on the replay, if he's watching on the replay. Okay, well, is there anything we missed before we wrap up? I feel like there's so much more, but the story does a great job. Like, go back to the story. There will be a part 2 of your story.
Yes, because I want to talk about the porters, and there'll be like a section because my God, I think I bought everything known to man for that trip, and there were so many gadgets and stuff that were amazing at work, and so many things that I went, you do not have to have this.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a guide for those that are going to go climb the.
I love it.
So they have
the YGC guide to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you for letting me interview you without knowing what your questions
were. I trusted you, but I had no idea.
We're gonna end this podcast, and then we're gonna. I didn't think this through, but I'm gonna do another live stream for my podcast.
Okay.
All right. So until next time, thank you for being here. Bye.
Bye.
Natalie.